Welcome into the season finale of Down on the Farm, presented by Parcel Ag, partnering for a sustainable future. I'm Lydia Taylor. Joining me today, Mitch Meyer, Director of Player Development for the Royals. Mitch, we have so much to go over, so let's go ahead and dive right in, starting off with the 8 big league debuts we have this year. Of course, the headliners, Jack Caglione, Carter Jensen, Noah Cameron. Your overall thoughts on the 8 debuts this year?
Yeah, I mean, anytime a player can make their major league debut, a player that came from our minor league system, that's something that we all celebrate, and we're extremely proud of that. That's going to continue to be part of our DNA, is using player development, using our scouting, and then developing players to make their debuts and help us win games. Here's the goal, and I couldn't be more proud of the group that has reached the major leagues and achieved these accomplishments this year. You mentioned Jack, you mentioned Carter, Noah, Lunder Avila, Tyler Tolbert, John Ray. I couldn't be more excited to watch their careers, and I've been in this role now to the point, for four years now, to where I've seen them come through the system. So I've seen it from day one, to see how much better they've gotten, to see their work ethic and the ups and downs. It's very rewarding. Our entire player development scouting staff celebrates that every time a player gets a chance to make their major league debut. Super
fun and bright futures for all of them. Now, specifically want to dive into Carter Jensen, as mentioned, Lunder Avila, both of which award winners, organizational award winners. Jensen, the George Brett Hitter of the Year, Avila winning the Mike Sweeney Community Impact Award. Speak a little bit more specifically to both of those players and what they bring.
I've mentioned this to both of them, but the accountability and the way they've taken control of their careers, not only in the season but off season, I think speaks volumes to see the success. Not everyone gets to see the behind the scenes things that we see in player development, but Carter's been extremely driven, Luinder as well, the poise and the presence, but the work ethic that those two put in makes it even more rewarding when again, good character, hard work pays off for these young men.
Absolutely. Let's move on to Columbia here, coming off a historic playoff run, making it to the Carolina League Championship, unfortunately falling short, but still a great run, led by 2 young aces who we've talked about each a handful of times in this series this season, Kendry Chourio and, of course, David Shields. Overall, what did you see from Columbia this year?
Yeah, it was a great year. Again, you look at one, from a player development standpoint, we want guys to get better as the year goes, and that you look at David, you look at Kendry Chourio, who started the year in the DSL, came to Arizona as a 17-year-old, and then finished pitching. He pitched Game 3 of the playoffs the other night as a 17-year-old. Just to see the talent, to see the growth over the course of a year is what we're looking for, and to get them in environments that are playoff winning type environments, them understanding how to win baseball games, how to play as a team, how each of their skill sets help that team win. And that's what they did there. They're really good on the base paths. Again, you mentioned David, Carolina League Pitcher of the Year, was an 18-year-old all year until he turned 19 the other day. When he pitched game 1 of the playoffs. So couldn't be more excited for the group of players and the way David Novarita led that team as the manager. His first full his first year as a manager. Again, really rewarding year. They came up short. There's a lot of disappointed players, but again, couldn't be more happy for the way that they went about it this year.
Now, you spoke a little bit about David Shields, Carolina League Pitcher of the Year, also Royals Paul Splittorff Pitcher of the Year. It's hard not to get excited when you see that guy on the mound and think about his future.
Yeah, no, he's extremely young, talented, the poise, the way he commands his pitches, his arsenal. There's a lot that goes into the success he's had this year, but again, all the ingredients are there, and again, you couldn't be more excited for his first full season of professional baseball, the way it's gone for David, and it'll be a good platform to continue to grow on as his career unfolds.
Another spotlight I want to shine before we move off of Columbia, Willie Wilson, Base Runner of the Year, Asbel Gonzalez. Your thoughts on him?
Yeah, it's exciting to watch. To steal 78 bases this season, set a Columbia franchise record, not only stolen bases, but runs scored. We haven't had anyone in nearly 40 years steal over 78 bases in the organization. So, really excited for Asbel. He's fearless, he's aggressive, he's only going to get better on the bases, but he knows that's his game, and getting on base, stealing bases, scoring runs is who he is, and he embraces that. And again, he's fearless and he's looking to take the extra base, and that's fun to watch.
Also exciting to watch Quad Cities. Really consistent, good baseball from them. Another team within our organization who really shined at the mound. Good pitching that anchored them throughout the season. Finishing with the best record in the West Division. Your overall thoughts on the River Bandits?
Yeah, they had a tremendous season. Jesus Oswahe led that team. You mentioned the pitching staff. Hunter Pattison, Felix Aronde, Drew Beam, were the anchors of that rotation. Hunter went up to Northwest Arkansas. And again, their pitching, their defense was the staple for that team that allowed them to have the best record in the West Division. And again, really a good first year for a lot of the players that were in their first full seasons, and a successful season overall for that club.
Somebody who shined at the plate for Quad Cities, Sam Kulasingam, 136 hits, the leader in the Midwest League. Your thoughts on him? Also the Alex Gordon Heart and Hustle Award winner this year.
Yeah, Sam, entering his first full season, you think about consistency. That's what he was in that lineup, and that's what Alex obviously embodied, was a consistency in the work ethic, and that's what Sam was able to do. He was the most consistent player really in the league, and that's why, again, from a games played, you look at the number of hits that he had. I think that's second most in River Bandits history. He's well deserving of the award. Obviously, again, the way that he goes about his business, the consistency, the leadership, and effort that he gave every day throughout the season, and a good foundational first season for Sam.
We can't let you leave, Mitch, without talking about Carson Rocafort, a defensive powerhouse, truly. Yet again this season, winning the Frank White Defensive Player. He is exciting to watch, but this year, too, making some real big offensive strides.
Yeah, no, he did a great job. In the game, it sometimes takes time to adjust, and he did that offensively this year in Quad Cities, was able to earn the promotion to Northwest Arkansas, and he continued to really perform offensively. Does a really nice job on the bases, and then again, as the Frank White Award winner, Defensive Player of the Year, he's a gifted outfielder. I mean, it's and I've told him this several times. The moment as a former outfielder and former outfield coach at the major league level, I as soon as I saw him, you knew he was gifted out there and going to be special. It doesn't matter if it's by the fence, coming in, diving for a ball, just the reads, the routes. He's just natural. There's a naturalness about it that has allowed him to win this back-to-back years, and it'll be a pillar of who he is as a player, because again, we know the offense comes and goes, and you can go through tough stretches, but being able to play good defense every single day is a consistency that a lot of major league players have. That it doesn't go into slumps, and will be something that he'll be able to lean on every day.
Now, I want to put you in the driver's seat here. Any other individuals, any other players or highlights from this season that you want to shine the light on?
One we talked about, Carter Jensen, the year that he's had is a tremendous season. Jack Caglione, what he was able to accomplish in the minor leagues before his major debut was really truly special. What he was doing in the minor leagues. Ramon Ramirez, someone that had an injury this year in Columbia, but he's a good young prospect. His offensive numbers in the shortened amount of at-bats that he had are some of the best within that Carolina League. Again, I know he didn't have the at-bats to qualify and didn't get honored, but he's a very exciting young prospect, also a catcher. On the mound, I mentioned Hunter Pattison, what he was able to do in Quad Cities before his transition into Northwest. Had a tremendous season. Felix Aronde, had a sub-3 ERA, was one of the best pitchers in the Midwest League all year. Drew Beam, his first full season, coming from the University of Tennessee, had a tremendous season there, and really, with Felix Aronde anchored that rotation in Quad Cities. AJ Causey, who started the year in Quad Cities, was able to make the transition and continue to perform well upon that transition into AA. Tommy Molsky, I can talk all day about some of these guys, but there's a lot of players that had tremendous years. Darwin Rodriguez was an ACL All-Star, so Arizona Complex League All-Star this year before his promotion up to Columbia. So again, there's a lot of players that have made major strides in their development this year, and we'll continue to look forward to that. And again, I couldn't be more proud of the major league debuts this year. Obviously that's what these players are striving for, and getting Kansas City and helping us win games here.
Here we are, at the end of yet another season, off-season on the horizon. It's hard to call it an off-season, though, specifically for our players down on the farm. Can you kind of paint a picture of what these next few months will look like for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we have instructional league taking place out in Arizona. So that's one step that a certain group of players will go into and go through our instructional league. We have the Arizona Fall League, which will have eight players representing us in the Arizona Fall League. We also get to provide the Arizona Fall League manager, Jesus Aswahe, Quad Cities manager, will lead the surprise team this year. We'll have Hunter Owen, Logan Martin, Dennis Colleran, AJ Causey, and LP Langevin will be the 5 pitchers that will be in the Fall League for us. And then Blake Mitchell, who missed some time with injury, throughout the early parts of the season, he'll be a catcher on the Fall League team, make up for at bats, and obviously continue to play, good competition as one of our top prospects. Daniel Vasquez, shortstop, who spent the majority of the season this year outside the last week in Quad Cities, but he's an exciting young player for us. He'll be a shortstop on that surprise team, and then Carson Rockford, who we've mentioned, will be an outfielder for the team. So those 8 will continue into the Arizona Fall League. That will run, essentially from October 6th through the 12th of November, and then we'll have some players that will be playing winter ball as well. Whether it's down in the Dominican Republic or Mexico, Puerto Rico. So we'll have some players playing winter ball. But that's kind of what the offseason will look like. And we have a couple other camps going on. But, really it's setting forth what players need to do developmentally in order to prepare for them to have a successful 2026 season is where our head's starting to turn.
Absolutely. Mitch, well, thank you so much again for joining us. Thank you for joining us for Down on the Farm, presented by Parcel Ag, partnering for a sustainable future. Thank you all for watching this season. We'll see you later.